Yo, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Perry and today we talking about growth. Feel me? We talking about growth, right? Um, for one, I came from a very dysfunctional family. Um, not the best ways were taught to us growing up. I have grandparents on my mom's side. The grandparents I had on my dad's side, his dad passed away a while back. Probably I want to say in 2017, 2018. I'm really not sure. But my dad's real mom passed away when he was younger. And the lady that my grandfather on my dad's side got with, um, I'm not sure if she's still living or not. Like we called her Mama Sharon, but I only really seen her like maybe 5 or 6 times in my life. Um, they were Katrina survivors, so yeah, there was. I remember when Hurricane Katrina hit, and they were calling all over Houston to figure out where they were. Hold on, let me turn this off. Wait, 1 second. Can I pause the live? Give me 30 seconds. All right, cool. We back. So, wait a minute. Hold on. So um, yeah. I remember they were calling all over the place to see where they were, and how can we pick them up. But now, mind you, I've these are my grandparents on my dad's side, so I never really got to experience the real mama and papa to the full effect, right? So my mom and my dad, no, my grandparents on my mom's side, we had to call them grandmother. Like that's what we had to call them, grandmother. Like it wasn't mom, papa. They felt like that made them feel old in a way, right? Even though it's almost like a term of endearment in Louisiana, calling your grandmother mama or your grandfather papa. But um they were not there for any of our births. Like they were not at the hospital. They didn't really approve of my dad or my two other siblings, Miranda and Julian. They didn't approve of their dad either. Now our parents weren't perfect. Our dads weren't perfect. Um, you know, one was abusive, and the other one, he was like a cheater. He was a drug dealer. Just like a whole bunch of stuff. Double life, all that type of stuff, right? So, um, my grandparents, they were not always emotionally intelligent or emotionally present in a lot of our lives, from their grandchildren you know to their children. You know what I'm saying? And um you kind of have to remember that, well, we all have to remember that our grandparents, they grew up in a time, especially if you have black grandparents, they grew up in the time of racism, in the time of just poverty for real. I remember my grandmother saying that her mom had to wear drawers on her head, you know, while she was picking peppers. in, the pepper field to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? So my grandmother has Alzheimer's now, or dementia, one of the two. I'm really not sure what it really is and how big the effect is, but my grandfather, he worked offshore and then he got hurt offshore, and after that he never worked again. So he wasn't really the type to really go to work, handle business, you know, come home, want to see his grandchildren. He was just always at home working on something, whether he was cutting the grass or he always had dogs. He had dogs that were like, I remember Tiger and Cyrus. They were mean as fuck. It was a Rottweiler and a German Shepherd. Like he had to keep them in the cage because they were so mean. And he had a set of dogs before that. He had a Yorkie, Nicky Parker, and then he had Bosco and Khan, which that was my uncle's dogs. My uncle, who's a Scorpio, he had a pit bull, and my other uncle, who was a Gemini, he was a German Shepherd Rottweiler mix. So I guess they couldn't keep taking care of the dogs. They knew my grandfather was the type to care for dogs, so he left them with my grandparents. They left the dogs with my grandparents or whatever. But my oldest, not my oldest uncle. Well, I have one uncle who's gay, right? He's gay. He's very handsome. He works out a lot. He takes care of his body. He travels all the time. He lives in California. Like he he is someone who you can look up to for real. You know what I'm saying? Because he came from a place where he was always looked down upon because of his sexuality, because of who he chose to be. Not even chose to be, but because he is who he is, right? They didn't want to they didn't want to really love him openly because I feel like they would have felt way too vulnerable having to love their gay son to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? And my uncle had cancer, and he actually survived cancer, right? And after he survived cancer, he was like, you know what? I'm not about to sit around New Iberia. I'm about to live my life. And so he did, right? So he did. He beat cancer and he started living his life. Now, he had to go through a lot of emotional and verbal abuse because he was gay, right? Now I have another uncle. His name is Uncle Kevin, and he went to the army, and he was kicked out of the house after he returned from the army or something like that. So can you imagine like the pain he possibly felt after going to war, going I don't know if he went to war, which I think he did, but he was in the army, bitch. If you went to the army, then you never know what could pop off. You feel me? And I don't know his whole story. I just know that he was kicked out of the house after a certain age. I think my grandfather felt like he didn't want to be the only man in the house, right? So, and then my mom, she was in a lot of, well, not a lot. She was in two toxic ass relationships where in the first one she had my first two siblings, Miranda and Julian, and then the second one with my dad, she had me, Jacob, and my brother Jordan. So pretty much her whole life was about her kids. You know what I'm saying? Because she got love from her kids, real, true, authentic love. And whenever we talk about growth, I want us to remember that you don't always know what your parents been through for real. Whether it's before you got here, while you were here, and they were trying to make ends meet. You know, you could have been a kid, just being a kid, not knowing what your parents were dealing with and everything. So, um, I've seen a lot of things about my grandfather, right? He was very, for one, he was very controlling. He was controlling in a way where whatever he says goes, whether it's toxic or not, whether it's the right way or not, whatever he says goes. So imagine that being your grandfather and you're witnessing his toxic patterns and toxic behavior trickle down into his family from top to bottom. You know what I'm saying? I remember me and my grandfather were walking one day, and I remember talking to him. I was like, you know, you the reason behind all of this, right? I'm like, all of us came from your ball sack, nigga. All of us. So all of this, we came from you. And then we came through our grandmother's womb. Whether we, you know, see it that way or not, like, you know what I'm saying? We came from you, nigga. We came from you. So um my mom was, I'm sure she was kicked out of the house too. It was just very toxic. Like all the toxic things that could have possibly went on, you know, during that time, I'm sure it did. And they had to deal with a lot of shit. My uncles and my mama and my auntie, both of them, right? Because my grandfather had a child with a woman whom I love very much. I love her so much. Like if y'all were to meet this lady, you have no reason not to love her. Like she is golden. So he had kids with her too, and that's how I got my T Kelly and I got my T Melissa that way. But toxic patterns didn't stop because people were being born, right? So um I remember getting the energy from my grandfather one day that he didn't want kids, period, whether we were here or not, which is a kind of sucky energy to get from your grandfather because you you love him, right? I remember going over there some days, he would always be irritated at the fact that we're there. I'm like, damn, like we your grandkids. Like we come in here to holler at you, talk to you. And if he would be cutting the grass outside, my mama would be like, go outside, see if your grandfather need help. And I would dread it. I would dread it. Because not only am I gay and I have to deal with a man who I know doesn't like gay people, I have to go and keep trying to prove a point to somebody as to why I'm worthy. That's what it felt like. It felt like I'm at a young age, you would be surprised how much I overextended myself just to feel some type of love or some type of care from certain individuals in my family. You know what I'm saying? So he would always be upset or mad. Like I remember feeling like I used to have to sneak to get a snack in their house. Like I'm your grandchild. Like why am I scared to go in the kitchen and get a snack? Or like I remember one time I was doing something. I think I was eating food and I went to open the refrigerator and I left a stain on the handle of the refrigerator. And he was like, "Look what you did." And I mean, I didn't have no words. Like I was like shook. He was like, "Look what you did." I'm like, "What? What do you mean that I leave a stain? Or I'm sorry." Like he didn't say. He could have just said like, make sure you wipe that. You know, make sure you wipe that off, or make sure you clean that. You know. It was just like a look what you did, you fucking dummy type shit. It was like very. It was like ugh, like you know. And he's not perfect, but we have to remember you're gonna feel when somebody wants you around, when they you're gonna feel when somebody wants to take care of you, you know, because that's a real pure authentic feeling, you know what I'm saying. I seen a girl, this lady that I rock with, Tarot on Deck. She was like she said most real things are most fake things come from something that was real. You know what I'm saying? And love is pure. Like love is a real thing. It's trust me, you're gonna know when love is real. And I'm not gonna say he didn't love me. It's just it was to an extent that I felt the extent in which he loved me, which you never want to make anybody in your life feel like that. Not yourself, not your family members, your siblings, your nieces, your nephews, nobody. You never want them to feel like like they're not worth it. Like they're not worth the time. They're not worth the patience. Like love is patient. It takes time, right? But yeah, my grandfather was me. And you know, and I wasn't as like I was fat as a kid. I was fat. You know what I'm saying? So if I were to overeat or if I were to be eating, period, it would be some other shit, right? I couldn't even enjoy my fucking food. Like I was just always on edge about something, you know, whether it was about being gay or about being fat, anything, anything. Like so. Now my grandmother, she she was a nurse, right? So she was very smart. But I witnessed her give a lot of her life to her husband and gave her children nothing. You feel what I'm saying? Gave everything to her husband, who barely really worked, didn't really work, went offshore for some time, and that was it. Came back into my mom's life at the age of 12, started demanding shit, started just bestowing his toxic ass ways onto this family. Now, my youngest uncle, his name is Ray Michael, right? He he was the baby at that time, and he got everything he wanted. He got a graduation party. He got a car. He got two cars from my grandparents. You know, he got a home from my grandparents. You know, he got they would get in a car and go see him in Atlanta when he lived in Atlanta, and he went to see my uncle Aaron too, but they really babied him, which enabled a lot of behaviors. You know what I'm saying? So I have three Scorpios in my family: me, my nephew Fabian, and my uncle, um, Ray Michael. So recently, like I kind of feel like we started getting fed up with a lot of things that this family has been, our family has been dealing with. putting up with, and everything. And something kind of shifted to where we started challenging each other a lot, you know, and we we kind of stopped. We kind of got far apart. And I was telling my mama, like, there's this thing. I feel like there's this thing in people's mind where they, after they get to a certain age, they feel like they're gonna stop. They told themselves at one point, like, okay, I'm no longer doing that, no matter what it is. I feel like they set a certain boundary up after a certain age, and they're like, I can't care too much about what's going on in your life because I have my own life, which is totally fine. You know what I'm saying? In order to stay healthy, stay sane, you can't always worry about what's going on in somebody else's life. But we have to remember, like, love doesn't, like, you're never gonna fall short for showing love and telling people how much you care about them and being open. Like, loving on your people, you're never going to fall short. God is going to make sure of that you're not going to fall short. You know what I'm saying? So growth takes time, whether we know how much time it takes or not. You know, that's something that we don't really know for real. But if we see unhealthy patterns in a family dynamic, in a sister dynamic, in a brotherhood, in anything, any even in friendships, if we see an unhealthy pattern, we have to address that and address it head on. You know what I'm saying? So we can change and grow and move towards the future. And forgiveness is huge. Forgiveness is huge in life, period. You have to learn how to forgive people, and you have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself. That's very, very crucial, very important to be becoming healthy, becoming balanced, becoming stable mentally, even physically. You know what I'm saying? Because people don't know this, but when you hold in so much and you swallow so many words and everything, it can mess with your health. It can mess with your health. And like even your gut, like you have to remember to take care of what you ingest and digest. You know what I'm saying? Because it can mess with your health. So um I'm gonna tell y'all a story, right? And it took us a long time to get here, but like we are going with the flow. We moving, you know, to the beat of our own drums, but at the same time, we still trying to work together and get it right, you know. So my grandparents, they have two houses. Well, they had two houses, right? And they had a old red Ford truck. They had a Ford Expedition 2004, 2005, and then they recently bought a Cadillac. My mom is the only one who, my mom and my uncle Mike is the only ones who live in the area to take care of them, make sure they're good, make sure they're okay. Now my mom has been trying to care for them for the longest time, but there was a time where we didn't have a car, we didn't have no way to get there, and my mom was trying to tell them like, "Yo, if you give me one of the cars, which the Expedition specifically, because she didn't, of course, she don't want to be driving around in a old ass truck. Like, let's be real. She like, if you give me the Expedition, I can come see y'all." And for the longest time, they were going to give us the Expedition, so we could get around, move around, and like they just kept giving us the runaround. And like my grandmother has dementia, but she's not, the state of dementia she's in is not that severe for her to forget things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it got to the point where my mama even started putting insurance on the truck without even having the truck. The truck was still sitting at my grandparents' house. And she was like, there's no way I can help y'all if I don't have no way to get to and from Liberia. So they telling us that they're gonna give us the truck. They don't give it to us. They telling us they will, then they don't. And like I didn't notice how petty my grandparents are. Like really think about this, y'all. Like I don't have any grandparents, right? Well, I do, but just think about the fact that you're a grandson, right? You're a grandchild, and your grandparents probably can do nothing wrong, right? When you love them to the extent that a grandchild loves their grandmother or their grandfather. So they ended up telling her, okay, we're not going to give you the car. We're going to give the car to Ray Michael. So this will be his third car that they've given him, right? So my mom is like, okay, what about the house? Because at least if I have the house, I would be in New Iberia and I would be able to come see y'all. She still wouldn't have a car though, even if she got the house in New Iberia. So she was like, okay, if y'all give me the house, I'm gonna fix it up and at least I'll be closer to y'all. So I had to step in and say, okay, mom, even if you get this house, they give you this house, they're going to be expecting you to take care of them, continue to take care of them. You're still going to have to find a way to get a car, and you're still going to have to pay the money to fix up the house because the house is not livable. You can't live in it. It's just been sitting there for the longest. He let two people live in that home, Ray Michael, and he let my cousin, my T. Kelly's son, live in there. And he was hounding him for the rent, hounding him for the rent, hounding him for the rent. Now he has kids, right? So you would think that his grandfather would look out for him in that way. You know what I'm saying? Take the house. He wanted to paint the cabinets or something. He had an issue with him painting the cabinets, trying to make the house livable. Everything he did to the house, he had a problem with it, right? Possessive. Possessive is what it is, and it's controlling. But sometimes we think in our mind that we have to accept that, or this is all you can get. You know what I'm saying? Because the people who we thought were gonna help us out or step in because that's the role that we feel like they should play, they didn't do that, or they didn't, you know, they didn't even want to step in and help you in that way. So you kind of start feeling like you just have to accept the bare minimum, or you have to deal with, right? You just have to just deal with it because you need this person. You need this person. And when people take advantage of you because you're in a vulnerable situation or a vulnerable state of mind, or they see that you're dealing with something, so they're going to use it to their advantage, like whether they know it subconsciously or not, like that's not a healthy place for you to put yourself in. You know what I'm saying? So they give her the house and we have to clean out the house and everything, which we did. But my grandparents, when they call on the phone, they don't understand that you can, after you, if you don't hang up or the person doesn't answer, then there's an answer machine, right? That records you. They record the conversations that you say. So this is what really struck a nerve, and this is what really made me realize that when people show you who they are, you have to believe them no matter who it is, right? So my mom was going through their house one day trying to clean it up, the house that they're in now, and she found a note. And the note said, it was almost like a will, basically like a will. It was like, I'm going to give this much money to this kid, well, this much money to Kevin, this much money to Aaron, this much money to Michelle. And my brother Julian was playing basketball at the time. This was in 2010. And Julian was on fire. Like, you couldn't fuck with my brother on a basketball court. Like, you probably still can't. But he was in he was in high school playing ball. And on a note they said, I'm gonna give Julian this much money and he could split it between his little brothers. Now, our name wasn't mentioned in the note. It just was he can split it between his little brothers. What made me feel some kind of way, but what really fucked me up was my sister wasn't even in that note. Nowhere in that note. Nowhere in that note, and she was the firstborn child. You know what I'm saying? So it just showed me how much they think about her, you know? So that was the first thing. I was like, damn, do they really care about us or not? You know what I'm saying? It hurt my feelings, but like I said, we're talking about growth here, right? So then they were on the phone one day and we were trying to do like a little seafood boil or whatever. And Miranda was like, it'll be nice, if y'all can help out, throw us a little money so everybody could, you know, pitch in. Like you the grandfather, right? We used to have a lot of crawfish balls back in the day, but this is something new. This is a new era. So she was just asking for a little help, this and that. Didn't say a price, didn't say how much she needed or none of that. She just was like, if you could pitch in, then you could pitch in. Now on the voice recording, on the voicemail, he claimed that my sister asked him for $400, which was cap as fuck. Like my sister never asked him for $400, like period at all. Never, ever asked him for money. She just asked for help, for assistance. But once again, they don't know that they're on voicemail and we can hear this. Like we literally can hear their conversation. So in my head, now, come on now, y'all. I love to give the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because I love to give people room to grow. Because I expect people to give me room to grow. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, okay, what if he just old and he just doesn't know? What if he just doesn't know? I was thinking, like, what if he's just old? Like, what if he just doesn't? What if he literally heard that, even though that's not the case? Like, I was literally trying to find every excuse as to why this man would say something like that and lie on my sister, right? And I couldn't find one. But the straw that broke the fucking camel's back, right? They gave my mama this house, right? And we had to go in there and clean all kind of shit out. Clean all kind of shit out. And my mom was like, there's no way I'm gonna get this house and then I'm gonna spend more money trying to fix it up just to live in New Iberia and not have a car. Like I'm still gonna have to find a car. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to sell this house. I'm gonna have to sell this house and I'm gonna have to use that money to get a car. I'm like, that's totally reasonable. Like nobody hasn't stepped in for you, stepped up, given you nothing, mom. Like you have to do this for yourself. You have to do this for your family. You have to do this. And she was getting ready to sell a house. Well, she is getting ready to sell a house, in the process of selling the house. They called on the phone one day because my uncle has a truck, the red truck that they gave him, that they bought him a long time ago. That's 3 cars, right? 3 cars. One of the cars is still parked at that house. And my mom told my uncle, yo, you gotta come move this. You gotta come move this car because I just need it gone. I don't think she really wanted to tell him that she was selling the house, but she was like, yo, you gotta come move this car. So once they found out that my mom asked him to move the car, they was calling my mom, but my mama didn't answer. And here comes the voicemail. I'm like, okay. My mama said, come listen to this. I get on I listened to the voicemail, and he basically said, "Tell her I want my house back. Tell her I want my house back." Picture your grandfather, Indian given to you. Picture him telling you he gonna do this, telling you he gonna do that, telling you, and he yanking shit from underneath you, right? I lost respect. I lost respect. I lost respect from him. You know what I'm saying? And it made me realize sometimes you have to be the change because not everybody's on a path to change. Some people want to take it with them. Some people think they could take the money, take the cars, take all that with them. Nah, it's the impact that you leave. It's the impact that you leave behind. You know what I'm saying? And that just showed me how much he didn't really care for my mama or care for us as his grandkids. And he wonder why we don't want to go over there and see him. He wonder why we don't all pack up in one car, go check on him, this and that, because he's selfish, y'all. He's selfish. And I guess for me, I'm 24 years old. It's hard to fathom even a thought of having grandparents that's that selfish, but they are. They are. Like, when I tell you, like, I got numb after that shit. Like that's why, like, a lot of my feelings, a lot of things don't phase me because of the shit that I've been through. I've been through a lot of bullshit, unnecessary bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was like, "Tell her I want my house back." I'm like, "What? Really? That's fucked up. It's fucked up." So the dynamic between my siblings, right? You got Jordan. Jordan's an artist. He's super tall. He played basketball. He's dope. He's very intellectual, smart dude. You know what I'm saying? Quiet person. Don't really like to get into all that shenanigans and whatnot. You got Julian. Julian is a big stepper. He's huge, like smart. Julian will fuck you up. Like, that's just what it is. Don't take no bullshit. You know, he is kind of hot headed sometimes, but me and him, we kind of like in that way. You got Miranda. Nah, she's a teacher. She's very intuitive, very smart. Very much so. I have to keep my heart guarded because of the shit she went through. She been through a lot too. She's the oldest, right? And she's a girl. So, she's very protective, you know, over who she loves and herself. Then you got me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what they'll say about me, but I mean, I'm the one who wants to turn up, enjoy life, get things going, get things moving. I don't want to see them fighting. I don't want to see them arguing with each other. I don't want to see them going through stuff by themselves. Because everybody, like I said, once you get to a certain age, you put up this boundary where you're like, okay, I'm not going to extend myself that far because the last time I extended myself that far, I got hurt. Or you seen you've been hurt because of this, you've been hurt because of that. So you don't want to overextend yourself, right? You don't want to, give that water out per se. So because we get scared that we're pouring it into an empty well or a bottomless well per se. And I noticed that with my siblings a lot. They they get scared to open up, you know, but I'm witnessing growth with them because I feel like they're starting to see how certain traumas and negativity was passed down without us even knowing. You know what I'm saying? And when I tell y'all, I got fed up one time. Like I got so listen, I got so fed up about a lot of shit. Like if you told me the young me was pulling guns on motherfuckers and all type of other shit, like I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe me. I wouldn't believe it. If you told me the young me was like was bitch fed up, ready to off some shit, like it's a rap, like I wouldn't believe it. But I was just so done with the toxic shit in my family. I was like, okay, like if y'all don't know how over the bullshit and toxic shit if y'all don't know how over it I am, I'm about to show y'all how over it I am. And I feel like everybody got to that place. Everybody, all of my siblings got to that place where they were like, they were just tired. They were tired of having to grasp at straws. They were tired of having to use the little bit that they had because nobody left this for us or nobody set it up for us to be in a better position as children. And if we being honest, none of us asked to be here for real. None of us asked to be here on this earth, but we here and we have to understand that it's a blessing to be able to live this experience and have these people around you, no matter who it is. That's why you have to love them, love people and treat them like a person, treat them with respect, treat them with love, you know what I'm saying? And we got fed up with a lot of shit. Now, my sister, she been fed up. She been fed up. And then my oldest brother, he been fed up too. My oldest brother beat the shit out of my uncle one time because my uncle used to fuck with him nonstop. And he fucked with my brother on the right day and on the right fucking time, and my brother wore his ass clean the fuck out. He asked for it. He asked for it. And so my brother delivered. And then Jordan is very quiet. You gotta watch Jordan. Like, you have to watch Jordan because Jordan is like he got that special beam cannon, bitch. Like he got that special beam cannon, my nigga. I'm telling you this. So um when Jordan gets fed up, like he doesn't say much, he doesn't do much. I feel like he feels things on a different level, on a deeper level, and I feel like that's where we connect the most. Because me and Jordan have a very poetic way of talking to each other. You know what I'm saying? And he we kind of get tired of taking on people's burdens, my siblings and I. But it used to be so hard for us to get together and enjoy ourselves because of the emotions that we harbor, right? And how sometimes we feel, we have so many feelings about situations and things, you know. And we were so close to our mom, like we know everything about our mom. Like we know everything about her. So we took on a lot of her burdens too, you know, and we were trying to do our best to heal her, and we are doing our best to heal her. We are doing what it takes to try to put her in a position, be more comfortable, be more happy. Like my mom is almost 60, you know, and we want her to be happy, you know, living out her golden days. So I think we kind of put our foot down. And Julian has kids. Julian has 4 kids. Miranda has 2, right? So we kind of put our foot down. And I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna be the gay uncle, I'm gonna be the best gay uncle there is. Period. Like my nephew told me yesterday, he was like, you need to grow up. I said, no, I'm not growing up. I said, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna play with y'all. We're gonna play this game and all this shit. I don't care how old I am, I'm gonna do this because I love y'all. And my niece Isabella, she like, yep, that's right. She like, that's right, Uncle Jay. And I'm like, you right, girl. Like that's right. I'm here to give y'all that love that I never had. Right? And that's the growth in a situation. You feel me? That's the growth in a situation. It brings tears to my fucking eyes, dog. Because that's the growth in a situation. We weren't always given the tools. You know, we weren't always given a fair chance, a fair shot. But if you love and be patient and take your time with the people that surround you, I can guarantee you God is going to bless you and he's going to make sure it works out for you. He's going to make sure it works out for you. You understand? And we have to be careful what we tell our kids, right? Because kids love their parents so much, they don't see the fault. They don't see the fault in some of the things they do. They just ready to ride for their parents. But when you tell kids certain things, they hold it close to them, right? So just be careful what you tell your nieces, your nephews, your sons, your daughters. You know what I'm saying? Because they start to feel what you feel, whether you know it or not. You know what I'm saying? And let me put some lip balm on these motherfucking lips here, y'all. Gee, okay. But that's the growth in the situation, y'all. And I ain't mean to cry. But I'm telling y'all what I know. Okay? That's the growth in the situation. So, for the first time ever, my nieces and my nephews came to sleep over with their Uncle Jake. And I was like, okay, this is my time too. This is my time to do my thing, man. I can't wait to do my thing. It's my time to do my thing. And we enjoyed each other, right? And don't enable certain behaviors with your children, you know. Don't spoil them too much. You feel me? Don't spoil them too much because that enables certain behaviors in them, right? And you want to make sure, you know, they ain't getting into trouble or they, you know, at the end of the day, they're going to grow up. They got to be human. They have to, you know, live in this world, live this human experience. So when I tell you, like, don't be scared to challenge unhealthy patterns because there's going to be immense growth in that, right? Don't be scared to speak on what's wrong. Speak on something that's unjust. Speak on something that's not right. Because God is going to see that you're trying to break unhealthy patterns, whether it's within your family, whether it's within your world, in the love life, even at work. I had experience at work where I was like, okay, I literally see this is not right. I'm not about to keep putting up with this shit. Like, I know it's not right. Don't tell me to put up with it. I'm not putting up with it. Y'all can fire me. Y'all could say whatever you want. I'm not the type that's just going to take shit. Like, I'm just not going to take bullshit because, like, my entire life, I had to just keep taking bullshit. Bare minimum, breadcrumbs, like, small little bitty pieces. Like, I'm not going to give you all the love in my heart because what about me? What about me type shit? Like, no. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool. Do not be scared to challenge unhealthy patterns, y'all. Literally, do not be scared of that, right? And seeing your nieces and nephews grow up, you like, damn, y'all just was babies. Y'all just was babies. Y'all speaking full sentences now and shit. Like, yo, that is so wild, man. It's like a crazy experience. Like, now imagine if that was my kids. I'd be like, yo, they are growing up so fast, and they literally are, y'all. But you cannot be scared to challenge unhealthy patterns because there's growth that comes with that. And be patient with those that you love on those that you love. Don't be in a rush to do anything. No one should be rushing you. Um, don't rush yourself. If you need to sleep a little longer, sleep a little longer. If you need to take a longer shower, take a longer shower. You know, sometimes, do that thing that find any reason to celebrate. That's how I look at life. Find any reason to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Stay humble at your peaks, at your highest, so God can bless you with more. Don't develop an arrogant heart. You know what I'm saying? Don't move with an arrogant heart. Move with grace. Move with love, light. You know what I'm saying? And if somebody pisses you off, then you if you get upset, if you feel misunderstood, vocalize that. Ask God for clarity before you vocalize certain things. Ask God to help you think certain things through before you vocalize things, because you never want to say something that can cause turmoil or that can cause things to trickle down into something else. Ask God to filter. Ask God to filter. You know what I'm saying? Filter your experience, filter your water, filter your mind, filter your spirit, filter your throat chakra. Ask God to filter. You know what I'm saying? So things can grow properly. You feel me? So yeah. And growth is new. Growth is a new experience. Sometimes you don't always know where you're headed. Stop rushing to get to a certain place. Enjoy the experience. So I just wanted to come on here and share that with y'all. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And yeah, don't be scared of growth. Don't be scared of change. Right? Stay prayed up. Everything works itself out in the end. So if you're stressing about something, stop stressing. Okay? All right, y'all. Be breezy.